Hey everyone, it's Baby Llama, and today I just wanted to record a quick video on why you should play your own builds, your own original builds, even if they're not meta, and why not necessarily you should stop copying builds or looking for like meta builds, but trying to defend people who make their own builds and who stick to them. So personally, if you've watched any of my other videos covering Last Epoch, I've said multiple times that I kind of wanted to jump into this game blindly without reading anything and kind of learn as I go. And obviously I did that up until a certain point. I went through the campaign. I also mentioned that I'm more of an MMORPG RTS kind of player. Don't often play ARPGs too seriously, but I have really fallen in love with Last Epoch to the point where I think it's opened up a whole new genre for me. Anyway, so in defense of like playing your own builds, currently I'm playing my Beastmaster. I'm just trying to level him and like do stuff with him, and I decided to like completely build him around a couple items that I got on my main account, and basically kind of just wanted to make him all about his wolves. I have another few pieces in my bank that I need to be a little bit higher leveled in order to wear. But for now, this has been a lot of fun to just kind of like experiment and like play around with the skills and with your passives and just like figure it out on my own. I did this with my mage, but obviously without any legendaries or anything, any uniques on my sorcerer since he was my first character. But I've been trying to stick to it. I played a marksman and I followed a guide kind of, and I'm having a lot of fun with that build, but it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel right, like. And this is not to call out people who play meta builds, because that's totally like, you can play the game however you want. That's also the point, right? You should be able to play the game however you want. And if you're someone who gets a little insecure about your build, or you feel like, I don't know, it's just like pointless when there's so many other people who are putting in the effort to like come up with this really good builds, I'm just here to like remind you that that's not necessary. You can have so much more fun. Some people find a lot of pleasure in the theory craft. A lot of people find pleasure in the figuring stuff on their own. I'm a little bit of a coin flip when it comes to this. Sometimes I just want to hop in and not have to think about passives and things. I just want to play the game. And other times I kind of just want to like learn and try stuff out and be like, the possibility of finding something that's really good excites me. Yeah. So I think people stick to meta builds because they're afraid of failing, they're afraid of wasting time, they would rather be efficient than creative. Again, all these things I'm not saying as like a call out. They're totally valid reasons to play a game and totally valid ways of playing a game. There's also a bit of like a community pressure, I feel like, in ARPGs, where some people are just like, if you're playing Sentinel, you have to play Void Knight because that is like the best build. But what if you don't want to? And this applies to all sorts of games, honestly. Like, I don't know, you see this in League of Legends. It's like, if you're not playing this exact build, the most optimized build, then like you're a noob. And it's like, I don't know. I think the point of games is to have fun, right? People also say that like it's just easy, like. That was my biggest gripe with Path of Exile. I would say, oh, Path of Exile feels overwhelming to me. And they'd be like, oh, just follow a guide. And I don't really want to do that. I don't know, I think Last Epoch in that sense is really good. I think pretty much any build, maybe that's not true, but most random builds I've tried so far have allowed me to play at least the campaign, for sure. The campaign is very easy, I think. It allows you to just kind of like play through it, so even if you're a complete beginner, it's totally fine. But even like push a bit of corruption, and sure, there's gonna be points when you get a little bit like stuck in endgame, and maybe those are good points to kind of like reassess, what is your build lacking, or what is your build, what has to change. And it's like a puzzle, it's fun. So I want to talk about some of the benefits of making your own build. One, it's fun. I've already mentioned that. Essentially, the entire video up until this point, I've been talking about just fun versus optimal, and that people should be able to enjoy their own game styles. Totally fine. To me, figuring stuff on my own allows me to learn the game better. And what I mean by that, the more I play ARPGs, the more I relate them to card games, like deck building games. And maybe this is a really obvious concept that people already know about. Again, I'm fairly new to the genre. But you have people who play, like in Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, whatever. People will play like the top meta decks, and other people will make up their own decks or make up their variations of decks. And like, they find pleasure in doing that, and it's like a challenge. It's how far can I go with my own build and trying to optimize it and like learn everything about the game. So for me, actually taking the time and like reading some of these, like, oh, okay, aspect of the board grants increased physical damage. You know, I mean, that's I might consider this later if I don't find any other things here, but for now, I'm trying to get a different route. I'm trying to find a different passive that works with the build I'm doing. I mean, I actually get to learn the class more than just copy-paste a build, right? When I copy-paste builds, I don't take the time to read all of them. I'll read like the main ability and then just let the build do the rest. And maybe that's not the most optimal way of playing it, but if I'm going to be lazy about building my character, I'm also going to be lazy about reading the abilities. And that's maybe, I don't know, maybe some people are better at that. The other thing is that like, there's this like obsession in ARPG, maybe it's not, maybe it's just gamers, man, I don't know what's wrong with us, but we love to min-max everything. And obviously, I mean, there's great benefit to min-maxing stuff, right? And if you don't, for those who don't know, min-max is like minimum, maximum, and finding that perfect in-between, where like you can put the minimum effort for the maximum output, right? I don't think you need to min-max everything. I don't think you need to min-max, especially in this game, to have fun and to push and to do monoliths and experiment stuff, play with your friends. Like, honestly, I don't know, it's fun. And there's another good point. When you're playing with your friends, you can kind of combine your builds. I know there's like a couple Sentinel builds that like reduce fire resistance. So me and my brother were doing this thing where he was reducing fire resistance a bunch, and I was playing a fire sorcerer, and it was so much fun. Like, we were kind of combining our abilities together. You can have someone focus on being a mapper, which is just like being really good at AoE and killing ads, mobs, whatever, and the other person be really good at single target to just kill the bosses. So complement each other, complement your own abilities. I mean, there's so many ways to play the game. That's, I think, the beauty of it. And also attachment. I think we get more attached to builds that we make on our own. There's a bit of a sense of pride, like, oh, you know, I figured this out and it's working. And my biggest fear, sometimes I like making builds and I'm like, oh, maybe I can make a video about this build. But then I get a little bit nervous because I'm like, what if there's something I'm missing? Like, I'm not seeing something really obvious in this build and people are going to call me out. And I shouldn't be afraid of that, because like, at the end of the day, the beauty of games is like the community that you build around. So if I missed something and someone tells me, hey, this passive would be better, that should be a good thing, because I'm like, oh, I can actually weigh the pros and cons of like, okay, if I take this one, I'm gonna have to remove something, and it still helps. It's still enjoyable. I think creating community in everything you do is one of the best things you can do. Now, Last Epoch, thankfully, is also kind of designed to be forgiving. And I think anyone who's played Last Epoch or Path of Exile or Diablo, or especially older Diablos like Diablo 2, Last Epoch is one of the most forgiving ARPGs I've played. And in a good way, not like ridiculously easy either. It's got a lot of depth, it's got a lot of complexity, not as much as Path of Exile, that's for sure, but also like, I don't think there's probably very few things in life that are more complex than Path of Exile. But, you know, you're able to respec, change skills, experiment with ease. It's very forgiving. I've said that a lot in my other videos. The meta also like shifts. That's something that people need to keep in mind. The meta, like, treat the meta as like the waves in the ocean. Sometimes they're in your favor, sometimes they're not. If for whatever reason your build is like on the negative side of it, and it's too negative, then maybe you reassess. Maybe you build something else, maybe you play another class, that's fine. But when the tides are on your side, oh, it feels so good, right? It's like one of the best feelings in the world. And that's another reason I think we all like these games, is that there are moments when you can feel like a god, and it's amazing. You just like walk into a room and everything blows up. It's great. And the other thing I encourage people is that, like, okay, maybe you need a starting point. Maybe you start off with a guide and then tweak it your own way. That's totally fine. I've done that in other games. I haven't had the chance to do it here, but definitely, like, I've seen someone's guide on, I think this was a while ago in like Diablo 4 when it first released, like a Hydra mage, and the build I was looking at didn't have a specific ability that I liked, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to this ability a bit, and it was fun. Like, I had my own little version of that. That's what I mean with variations. And yeah, I mean, it might not be the most efficient way of playing, but personally, and I think for a lot of people, and maybe people who haven't tried it, it is a lot of fun. It is just a lot of fun to be able to do your own stuff and come up with things and build your own character from scratch, try new things. I really, really encourage that. There's also times where you're gonna fail, and it may be frustrating, it might not, but I think that's just part of life, right? Like, you're gonna try new things, and it might just not work. I'm not gonna lie, Necromancer is one of the characters that has, like, sorry, not Necromancer, Acolyte particularly. Acolyte has been so hard for me to figure out. I don't know why. I was leveling and having such a harder time than any other character for me so far. So what I did was, like, I started looking at a couple guides of Necromancer, of Acolytes, and I found a build that I liked a bit, that used like an ability I liked, and I tweaked it a little bit, and I started playing it on my own version of it, and it's been like great. I just think I needed a little bit of like someone to put me on the right path, and that's fine too. And over time, I think this, you know, you learn things with time. You're only gonna be able to learn things if you play with it, experiment with it. So I'm pretty confident that like a month from now, I'll be able to like take a character and just make my own build, because I'll be so much more comfortable with how it works. So now I kind of wanted to ask y'all if there's a particular like off-meta build that you've enjoyed so far, that you've been playing, or that you'll like die on a hill defending. I'm always curious to hear what people are like cooking. So, you know, it's not a big deal if like I would encourage you to share it with people, share it with me, share it with us, even if it's like not the best build. At least, you know, we can talk about it, make fun of each other, we can have fun, and at the end of the day, that's the whole point. So I think that's all I wanted to say about builds and like off meta and versus meta, and like just kind of wanted to like put that out there in case you're ever feeling like insecure about your builds or your style of play, and you know, just here to remind you that there's nothing to be worried about, and just to have fun. Please, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please check out my other videos. I'm trying to make at least 2 videos a week, so stay tuned for more, and that'll be it. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.